RIP this lady, man. I ain't gonna lie, this video was crazy. I ain't gonna lie, I'm already a paranoid person. This video got me a little bit more paranoid.
It was a quiet night in Charlotte, North Carolina. The clock was nearing 10 p.m. when a young woman boarded the train after finishing her shift at a local pizzeria. She had no idea this ride would be her last.
Like, just think you a normal, everyday, regular lady, person, whatever, making pizzas all day, and you getting off on who knows what she thinking about, what she finna go do, but she not thinking nothing like this is gonna happen.
Her name was Iryna Zarutska, only 23 years old. She had fled the war in Ukraine with her family in 2022, hoping to find safety and a new beginning. She loved art, fashion design, and animals, dreaming one day of becoming a veterinary assistant. On August 22nd, 2025, before Iryna even stepped onto the train, the cameras had already caught a disturbing sight. A man sat in his seat wearing a red hoodie, but he wasn't still. He shifted constantly, fidgeting, his body restless, his face betraying flashes of raw emotion. He looked uneasy, unsettled, almost as if a storm was already brewing inside him. And within minutes, that storm would explode, just as Iryna took her seat in front of him. At 9:46 p.m., Iryna boarded the Lynx Blue Line, wearing her work uniform, listening to music, scrolling on her phone. Her attention was fixed on the screen. Around her, the train remained quiet. Passengers kept to themselves, with only the steady sound of the subway moving along the tracks. 4 minutes later, the man reached into his hoodie.
Like, that's actually wild. You could just be sitting there, chilling, just on the train, just trying to go home. This would change how I ride the train, bro. Like, I'm gonna have to be a certain way if I ride the train now. Like, I'm already a certain way, but I'm about to be a certain way even more. Like, now maybe I gotta stand up against the wall. I gotta stand up against the wall every time. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like stuff like this can happen anywhere.
And pulled out a folding pocket knife.
Like, what?
Without warning, he struck from behind.
Oh my!
The blade pierced Iryna's neck, and before she could react, he stabbed her twice more in the back. The entire attack lasted only seconds. She had no time to move, no chance to defend herself, while passengers nearby began to realize the horror unfolding right in front of them. Security footage shows Iryna collapsing in her seat. After the stabbing, the attacker stepped away from the area and walked toward the front of the train car.
I got that white girl. It's crazy. I got that white girl. It's crazy.
There, he took off his hoodie and held it in his hand as he moved through the car, almost as if trying to cover a wound. He didn't leave right away, staying inside the train car for nearly 2 minutes. Then, he quietly exited at the next stop, leaving the car behind in chaos and panic. Meanwhile, terrified passengers rushed to the scene of the crime before fleeing the train at the next station. Unfortunately, transit security guards were on the train that night, but they were in the car ahead of where the attack took place. The suspect was quickly arrested on the train platform. The authorities have identified the suspect. He is known as DeCarlos Brown Jr., 34 years old. Brown has a long criminal history, with more than 14 arrests spanning from 2011 to 2025. In 2012, he was convicted of assaulting a woman in Mecklenburg County and received probation. The case involved physical violence. 2 years later, in 2014, he was arrested and convicted for shoplifting, receiving a fine and being ordered to complete community service. In 2016, Brown was charged with felony breaking and entering. He was convicted.
He just tweaking every other year. Bro, just every other year, just let me tweak real quick.
And served a short jail sentence, followed by probation. In 2018, he faced charges for assault with a deadly weapon, a felony in Mecklenburg County. He eventually pleaded guilty to a reduced misdemeanor charge and was sentenced to time served along with probation. By 2020, he was convicted of possessing stolen goods and received a suspended sentence combined with community service, including an attack on his sister at her home in Charlotte in 2021. In 2022, he was arrested for resisting arrest during a traffic stop, convicted, and fined. The following year, 2023, Brown faced charges for trespassing and creating a public disturbance. He was convicted, fined, and ordered to complete community service. In 2024, he was arrested for assaulting a transit officer in Charlotte. He was convicted and sentenced to 30 days in jail, with credit for time already served. It remains unclear whether Brown completed his community service. His record also includes violations of emergency laws, such as misusing the 911 system. In January 2025, he was arrested after repeatedly calling 911, claiming that a man-made material had been implanted in his body, controlling basic functions like eating, walking, and speaking.
What are we talking about?
Following his release from prison, Brown was diagnosed with schizophrenia after his behavior became increasingly aggressive. His mother requested a psychological evaluation after noticing these changes, which led to the diagnosis. Although he was placed under psychiatric monitoring, he became homeless after his mother evicted him due to his aggressive behavior. Despite his extensive criminal and mental health history, Brown was released in January 2025 on a written promise to appear in court, raising serious questions about the judicial system's handling of such cases. In July 2025, his attorney requested a forensic psychological evaluation to determine his competency for trial, but this evaluation was never completed. On social media, there has been widespread outrage over Teresa Stokes, the judge who in January 2025 released DeCarlos Brown Jr. without bail. This decision sparked major controversy, especially after the crime occurred. Despite his long criminal record and concerning behavior, Judge Stokes chose to release him without bail, raising serious questions about the effectiveness of the judicial system in handling such cases. It was later revealed that Judge Stokes also serves as the chief operating officer at Second Chance Services, a center in Charlotte.
Now all of a sudden they want to question stuff like this.
Providing mental health and addiction services. This overlap between her judicial role and her position at the center prompted further concerns about a potential conflict of interest, particularly following the crime committed by Brown. Before she became a magistrate judge in North Carolina, Teresa Stokes had a very different life. In 2021, she was a co-owner of Wing Heaven Sports Haven, a fried chicken restaurant in Lansing, Michigan. In a March 15, 2021 interview with Fox 47, Stokes revealed that she had lost both a brother and a nephew to drug addiction in 2020.
Teresa Stokes is the co-owner of Wing Heaven Sports Haven, Michigan's first sober bar.
In 2020, I lost a brother and a nephew, father and son, 9 months and 5 days apart, to the same overdose.
Everybody deserves an opportunity to recover regardless of what the substance or the drug or the addiction is.
It could be your very first minute, your very first hour, your very first day. If this place is going to make you feel safe, come in.
These personal losses shaped her perspective, showing a clear compassion for those struggling with substance abuse. Wing Heaven described itself as a sober and recovery atmosphere, catering to individuals overcoming addiction. Stokes also co-owned Pinnacle Recovery Services, a nonprofit housing program offering support for people in recovery. While her work with recovery programs reflects a genuine commitment to helping others, many people believe that this background influenced her decisions later as a magistrate judge in North Carolina. They argue that her personal experiences and compassion for those struggling with addiction may have led her to show excessive leniency, raising concerns about judicial impartiality and potential conflicts of interest. Out of nowhere, a GoFundMe page appeared, raising funds to cover the legal costs of the suspect in the murder of Iryna Zarutska. The page sparked widespread outrage because it suggested that Brown, the man accused of killing the Ukrainian refugee, was a victim too, just like Iryna. One donor wrote on the page, raising money to assist DeCarlos Brown Jr. with legal fees. Any support helps fight against racism and bias against our people. This immediately caused anger after the horrifying surveillance footage showed the attacker pulling out a knife and viciously stabbing the 23-year-old victim, leaving the train carriage covered in blood. People reacted strongly online. Bloggers and commenters said the donors should be held accountable. The page was widely criticized as a provocation against humanity. Despite cameras capturing him committing murder in cold blood, supporters still tried to claim he was failed by the justice system. As outrage grew on social media, GoFundMe removed the pages and refunded all donations, emphasizing that their policies explicitly prohibit fundraising for anyone formally charged with a violent crime. Meanwhile, a separate fundraising page was created for Iryna's family, which has since raised over $75,000 to support them. Iryna Zarutska had already escaped war, only to be struck down by violence in the very place she sought refuge. She was an artist, a dreamer, a daughter. Her life was stolen in just minutes.
Yeah, randomly. Like, I be thinking about stuff like that. Like, how was, like, what did she do that day before this happened? You know, I be thinking about stuff like that. How was her day going up into this moment? Because she did not obviously see this coming. So it's like, I wonder what was going on in her day all the way up to this moment. Like, what was she thinking? What was on her mind? Where did she, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just be thinking stuff like that because, I mean, this is just super senseless and just random. Like, she literally could be here today still living her normal life, but instead she's gone.
I'm a fault with. Let's take a nap, sipping on my cup, slide in the traffic, riding in traffic, waiting on the traffic.